Alright, so Loki Season 2 is due to release next year, with production on the series already well underway. Marvel have been showing lots of secret trailers behind the scenes at special fan events, and so far we've tried to cover them all. However, Loki Season 2 is something that we still haven't touched upon, but my uncle attended an event back, well, not my uncle, someone else I know, attended an event back in September which had the full trailer shown at it. In this video, we're going to be breaking it all down and going over our theories on what's happening in the series. It's Siri times. Now, we have seen from some recent D23 trailers that they have some different things in them to what gets put out publicly. For example, Quantumania had Kang asking Scott if he'd killed him before, which is a line that didn't make it to the one that dropped online. Still though, this will probably be at least 60 to 70% of what gets released in the final public one, along with a couple of extra shots that might not make it. I also want to talk about some of the Deadpool 3 rumours, and a report about one of the characters going into that movie from Loki. Because of that, full spoilers ahead, and if you don't want some of the surprises ruined, then I recommend that you turn off now. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking the video. Now let's get into Loki Season 2. Okay, so from what I see, what my uncle's friend seen of the trailer, it opens with an elevator ping. Huge shoutouts to New Rockstars for pointing out that this is similar to how the trailer for Season 1 opened as well. This then opens up showing the Marvel Studios logo, which is of course mimicking the elevators in the TVA. It also has clock gears and pieces in the background. This then shifts to the classic Marvel red, with the Studios logo staying over the top of it. From here we cut to the TVA lobby and see Loki curiously walking towards someone reading a burgundy manual. This has the TVA logo on it, but sadly we don't see the person who's holding it. Loki looks really confused over what's going on, and my guess is that he's extremely bamboozled over this Kang-controlled TVA. No one other than him seems to notice anything's wrong, and if you cast your mind back to the ending of Season 1, it seemed like he'd ended up in an alternate timeline that was controlled by the villain. This was something that was warned by He Who Remains, who said that the multiverse would ultimately lead to his variants being created. However, leaks on the show have said this is actually a bit of a misdirect, and that Loki is still in the original timeline that he was in Season 1. Now technically, he's not in the 616, because he broke off into another timeline when escaping Avengers Tower in Endgame. That's going to be something that's meant to be explored in the series, with it being revealed that he's still in the same universe that he was always in. Whether this has been altered by Kang or Sylvie remains to be seen, and you know what, it might not even be true. The bloody leaks again, they are always full of shit, but I thought I'd just bring that up in case it turns out to be true. Now, we do see Sylvie later on by herself, sitting on a couch, sprawled out with headphones on. Much in the same way that He Who Remains at his own office, it seems like this is where she's now sitting about, potentially looking over everything. Anyway, Loki says hello to the person reading the book, and then all of a sudden, he warps out of there and into another part of the TVA. He's in a much darker environment here, with most of the power cut out, though there are some things flickering up. The TVA seems completely empty, and from here we get a cut to where he's standing amongst some sand dunes. This could be the Gobi Desert that he crash landed in during Season 1, and they might be kind of revisiting that location to see if he can trace back his steps. Over the top of this, we hear him saying that this is going to sound strange, and he explains that he's been pulled through time. We then watch him walking along a corridor with him jumping back and forth. It's sort of like when he was rewinding Hunter B-15 in Season 1, and he skips about between places. This is clearly someone using a temp pad on him, which could be Kang just toying with the character. I don't know if this will be the same Kang as the one in Quantumania, as from what I've heard on the leaks, they don't line up. If you want to see our breakdown on that movie, then it will be linked on screen right now, but we are going to be dealing with multiple Kangs in the MCU, and I think this one's separate to him. And now we start to explore more of the TVA, including a circular room with TVs littering the wall. It's sort of like the architect ones from The Matrix, but it's mixed with a sort of factory-controlled terminal. Lots of green amongst it, and he explains to whoever he's talking to that he's seen terrible and awful things. It's difficult to make out where he is when he's saying this, but it appears to be a similar room to the one he got judged in by Ravonna Renslayer. If that's the case, then he's probably been pulled back through the TVA, and once more, he's being judged by one of the judges. We then cut to him standing beside one of the murals in the TVA lobby, and on that we can clearly see the timekeepers. He then hits this with one of the TVA eraser sticks, and just like when a timeline got taken out, there's that erasure effect going over the top of it, like it's basically wiping out what was there. This reveals that there's actually 3 heads beneath it, similar to the way the Timekeeper ones were displayed in Season 1. However, instead of the Timekeepers, it's actually Jonathan Major's face, demonstrating Kang is now behind it all. Loki then says that war is on the way, and this is of course referencing the multiversal war that was teased at the start of Season 1. With him is Mobius. I'm probably going to call Morbius about 20 times in this video, but we're making a point here that I'm meaning Mobius every time I say it, and not the greatest comic book movie of all time. Now, Mobius seems shocked to see this playing out, and then we get a title screen saying next summer, teasing out when Season 2 could be starting up. From here we cut to another section of the TVA that we haven't seen before. It looks like a bookshop with a circular desk in the middle, and operating this is a clerk played by none other than Ke Huy Quan. He's been smashing through the multiverse and everything everywhere all at once, and he's going to be what appears to be either a library archivist or something else. Is archivist a word? Anyway, looks like Casey might actually have been replaced by him, as we get a quick cut of him in a dusty prison being led through it. Now, it might even be possible that we learn the origin story of the TVA agents. Season 1 showed us that Ravonna Renslayer was a teacher, and we know the whole jet ski story with Mobius, which, just give that man a jet ski. The shot with Casey could potentially be showing his life before he was picked up, as we see Hunter B-15 in the following shot wearing normal clothes. This is in the style of an African dress, with her wearing a headscarf and rings around her neck. This is the first time we've seen her out of uniform, and in Season 1, she had a brief moment where she remembered her life before the TVA. Potentially, we could end up seeing that, and if we're leaning more into the MCU lore, then it might be possible she's from Wakanda. Now, I think all the TVA agents are actually variants that were taken by the company and reformatted into their staff. We saw them basically trying to do that with the Loki variant in Season 1, and whilst his main version was continuing in the 616, they were using him to help track down Sylvie. We also see Ravonna in what looks like a TVA interrogation room, and this could be following on from her leaving at the end of the last season. In case you don't know, Ravonna is seen as the love of Kang's life, and in his recently rebooted origin story, he bumped into several versions of her laid throughout time. He's always been destined to watch her die though, or have her turn on him, unless he spent the entirety of his life depressed and alone. It looks like the season's gonna be full of big locations too, and we see what looks like a movie premiere with a red sports car outside of it. Mobius comes out wearing a tuxedo, and the trailer ends with this location as well. We then see that there's 2 versions of Loki, both wearing tuxedos. We also have a new TVA location, which looks like the inside of a train station. I've got no idea what that is. You probably should see if Screen Crush have a breakdown instead of something, because yeah, no idea where this was in the leaks, but let me know below if you saw it and you know. Now, Loki is also fighting TVA agents here, and he smacks one, which makes a green glow emanate from them. We see Loki getting chased through an alleyway, and a truck almost reverses into him. From here we get quick cuts of the TVA offices, and some of their clerks, along with things like the tape recorders. One of the staff members is Liz Carr, who's rocking a TVA higher-ups uniform. We also see Mobius wearing what looks like a spacesuit, before we watch Loki falling through the white void that the TVA exists in. We haven't really seen outside of this, and where it is, and if there's even a floor for him to fall into. Now lastly, the teaser ends with Loki and Mobius sitting in a room together, and Mobius basically says how he's not the bad guy. Loki says he is, and then lists off all the people who've said that. This includes the Avengers, Phil Coulson, Miss Minutes, and Thanos as well. So, nice little joke to end the teaser, and it spells out that we're going to be going over bits of Loki's past too. Interestingly, we didn't ever see Thanos calling him a bad guy, so maybe we'll get a reference to what happened between the pair before he sent him to Earth in the Avengers. We also have some behind the scenes images that show a McDonald's in the 70s, with Sylvie appearing like she might be working there. I'm loving it, and perhaps she's decided to actually go and just have a normal life instead of being She Who Remains. The shot of her on the couch had her listening to 70s records, so I'm guessing that this scene is just building off the back of that. She was of course hounded for her whole life by the TVA, so maybe now she just wants to relax, listen to ABBA, and become a dancing queen in the 70s. You could say she's Bjorn again. Now, as for the Deadpool 3 news, Daniel RPK reported that Mobius will be a big character in the film. Owen Wilson will be reprising his role, and this gives us some clues as to what that movie's about. Now, it's already become pretty clear that the version of Wolverine we'll see in that film won't be the one from Logan. He died at the end of that movie, and Hugh Jackman has made it clear he doesn't want to retcon that. Instead, this will be a multiverse version of the character, and Mobius might even be the one who guides both him and Wade Wilson through the entire MCU. It's even possible that the TVA are pulled in too. If Logan was supposed to die at the end of that film, then a version of him surviving could be a timeline that needs to be pruned. Sure, the multiverse is open now, but they might still want to clean up some timelines that could pose a threat to Kang. Wolverine and Deadpool would definitely be two people that Kang would want out of the way, because they're the kind of people who would just mess everything up. Who knows what's going on though, but I do find it interesting that Mobius is coming across too. Wow, will Owen Wilson be a big addition to that movie? And if he's in it, then season 2 probably sets up that film. We better get Wolverine walking out of a portal and saying, "I'm back, you f***." But let me know below what you think will happen in the film. Anyway, that's the video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you comment below and let me know. We are running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of House of the Dragon Season 1 on the 15th of December, and all you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the trailer. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last run are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the original script for Wakanda Forever, which will be linked on screen right now. We've gone over all the details we have on the film, so definitely head over there right after this. Out of the way, thanks for sitting through the video, I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.